A ride, for sure. Let's give it a minute to get everybody in here. Get you guys in, get you settled. Where my friends at? Paul's posting it up in the Discord. To see what's happening. All right, we're going to give them about 10 more seconds. I see you guys getting in here. Give them a minute to get in here, get situated, get ready. Make sure that you have your drinks ready for you know what. It's coming soon. All right, gents. And now, welcome. Welcome to Live with Jack number, what number are we on? Like 80, 84? Jesus, it's a lot. Okay, welcome to Live with Jack number 84. Hi, I'm Jack. And today we're going into some pretty deep territory. We're going to be jumping into body language and nonverbals. I hope that you guys can read this okay. There's a ton of stuff. I'm going to try to get through it all as quickly and thoroughly as I can. But if you would like to truly enjoy today's lesson, if you would like to take it up and reach the height of humanity, the culmination of all of civilization, the thing that makes everything in the world better, all you need to do is grab your glass, your mug or your flask, a chalice, a stein, or even a cask. Raise it high and let's make a splash. It's time now for our libation bash. Toast the night and enjoy the mood. Together now, we drink some booze. On your mark, let's not wait. It's cheers with chaps, so don't be late. Oh, wait, the sounder. Go. Cheers, lads. Oh, Paul, do you want to hear something really, really disappointing? This is probably going to be the most important lesson that I ever teach these guys. And they're like, it's not going to get me pussy right away. I'm not going to watch that until later. I'll catch it on replay. Like, okay, man, but you're about to miss out on a university level lecture that's going to teach you everything that you need to know about behavioral psychology, body language, and all of nonverbal communication put together. So let's jump straight into this because there's a lot to go through. So first of all, body language, nonverbal communication. Why does it even matter? Why can't we just listen to the words people say, understand the words people say, and then act on the words that people say? Why can't it be that simple? Well, here's the thing. Out of all of the communication you do, only about 7% of your communication is actually verbal, is the words that you say. About 38% of your communication is subtext, is the things that you're not saying, but you're implying. And tonality. And about 55% is your body language, is all the stuff that you are showing through your communication, but you're not saying. So if you don't learn how to understand body language and nonverbal communication, you cannot possibly understand what someone is trying to say. You cannot possibly understand what she's trying to tell you, what signals she's giving you. And even worse, you yourself don't know what signals you're giving her. As I taught you guys a couple of weeks ago, perception is reality. The way that she perceives you is the most important thing in the world because that's her reality. And if you don't understand how she's perceiving you, then you cannot possibly understand, you cannot control what it is that she's thinking about you. You want to know what she thinks about you, right? That's the mystery that everybody wants solved. They all come to me and they say, Jack, why can't girls be simpler? Why can't they just say what they mean and tell me what they mean? Here's the thing, man. They are telling you, they are showing you in every possible way. You are just not understanding. Communication is understanding. And it removes a lot of the mystery that guys have, a lot of this trouble that guys have whenever they're talking to women and they're trying to understand them and they're trying to figure out what it is that I'm doing right or I'm doing wrong. Why did she respond to this but not to this? What's going on here? Well, I'm here to explain that. And it does inform your perception. Understanding her body language helps you to better understand her. This is going to completely change your perception on her, on all the women that you talk to, on all the people that you talk to, because you're going to start seeing all of these patterns and you're going to start understanding, oh, that's what they're showing me. That's what they're saying to me. This is going to help you better understand and better perceive what it is that they are trying to communicate to you, even though they're not using their words to do it. So let's go through the first part of this lesson, which is the part you can control. This is your body language. What kind of body language is effective for you when you're talking to women? The first thing that you need to focus on is you need to focus on having a confident stance. What does that mean? That means a couple of things. First of all, stand up straight, your shoulders back. You don't want to be drooping over. You don't want to be slouching. You don't want to have the turtleneck. Sometimes I get the turtleneck too, especially whenever I'm talking like this and I get really excited and I start leaning forward and closer and closer and closer to the camera. I start turtlenecking too. It's bad. Terrible for your posture. Also, it just looks bad. It literally looks like that, like the meme where you've got the Chad face and the dude with the jutting jaw, and then you've got the little soy boy next to it, like pulled back, and you don't want to get that turtle head going on. As much as you can, you want to have your shoulders back, your back straight. You want to have your head tilted slightly up, so you're looking at things this direction, at just a slight angle up. Now, obviously, when you're talking to someone shorter than you, that's a little bit difficult, but I'm sure you can manage. I'm talking to two cameras right now. One of them is about chin height for me, and the other one is about boob height for me. And I'm still able to keep my head mostly up while I'm talking to you. Can you notice the difference? Probably, because if I look down like this, and I'm looking straight at the camera, it looks less confident and it looks less comfortable, honestly. The real thing that you're going for with this confident stance is you want to look comfortable. You shouldn't be standing at attention like that. You need to look loose, comfortable. If you're using your hands, like your hands shouldn't be at your side, even when you're not using them. They're kind of here, they're around. This is your home position. We talked about that before. We're going to get to that a little bit more in a minute. Next is your purposeful gestures. This is about how you're using your hands. So here's what you should not be doing. This thing. While you're talking, you should not be doing this with your hands. You shouldn't be fidgeting. You shouldn't be playing with your hands. None of this stuff. This is absolutely unacceptable. Because even if everything else is 100% perfect, this makes you look like a serial killer. Don't do that. Do not do that. You want your hands to be clear. You want them to be open. Home base is here. With your hands, here, let me turn a little bit. Your hands are loose. Your elbows are bent. They're slightly up. They're basically at the point where you would cover your hands like a coconut bra, like you're a little mermaid. Okay? You want to keep them about here. This is your home base. Whenever you're talking to somebody, this is your home base. And you're using your hands. You're using them to emphasize certain words, or you're really trying to drive home a point, or you're vamping and you're just talking about something and you're like, oh man, this guy, you just kept going on and on and on and on about his hands. It was insane. You're using your hands in this general range, and it's very effective, but they have to be to a point. They have to be used for a purpose. You can't be just moving them around, getting all nimbly bimbly like a kitty cat, or like the flailing wacky arm inflatable tube man, or anything like that. You want them to be here with a purpose. Even if they don't match what you're saying, if it looks like your hands are moving with a purpose or in time with how you're talking, that's all that it needs. That's all you need. You don't want them to be distracting. You don't want them to be going all over the place. This is your general home base. This square from the outside of your shoulders in, and from the top of your shoulders to your nipples. That's about where you need to be all the time. That's your home base. Now, if you're really trying to drive a point home, you can get bigger with the gestures, but save that for when you're really trying to drive a point home. Another thing you can do, if you're not comfortable having your hands up like this, you can do it with just one hand at a time. You can rest the other hand, and that's perfectly fine. You can have a hand up here, a hand down here. You can flip them around. You can go back and forth, and it's totally okay. The point is that you're using your full body to communicate, not just your mouth, not just your words, because people are reading so much more into it than just the words that you're saying. Your words mean nothing. Well, 7%. Your words basically mean nothing. Everything else means everything. Continuing on, your eye contact. You're aiming for the 3-second rule. Do you guys know the 3-second rule? Here's your 3-second rule. You should maintain eye contact for about 3 to 5 seconds at a time. Any longer than 5 seconds of direct eye contact gets a little bit weird. So after about 3 to 5 seconds, you break the eye contact a little bit, not much. It doesn't mean that you're looking around the room, that you're looking like the kid with ADD who's like, hey, do you want to go ride bikes? We're not going there. That's not how far we want to go. Instead, you want to have eye contact on one eye for about 3 seconds, 3 to 5 seconds. Again, you can kind of feel this out. And then you can break, you can move to the other eye. You can look behind them, just using your eyes, just using your peripheral vision, looking around a little bit, not much. You don't want to seem distracted. You're part of it. Or you can also break eye contact in a comfortable way while you're talking. If you're, I don't know, taking a drink and you, like that. Or you can blink a little bit and, you can look down as you're building into something. You can look up as you're making a point. You can do lots of things with your eye contact that still make it seem like you're focused. You're not distracted, but you're never staying right directly on them the whole time. Because that's weird and that's creepy and that's what you do not want. All right, next up, space usage. Whew. This is a big one, especially for you bigger guys out there. Like, I know compared to the girls here in Korea, I'm a damn giant. So you need to be very aware that you are much larger than the girls that you're going after. So you also take up more space. You are also much more intimidating and scary. Not in a personal way, like I think you are scary, but there have been so many times that I've seen a guy go up to a girl. Hold on a second. We're gonna bring in our prop here. This is what's her name? Her name is Roseanne. We're gonna bring in Roseanne. Oh shit! Knocking over my lamp too. Gonna have to fix that. Whoa! The joys of setting up a home studio in a Korean apartment, right? So I've seen so many guys go up to a girl who's standing near a wall like this, and they come over and they lean on the wall and they block her off like this. And that girl is terrified. And she should be, because you're literally, not intentionally, but you are cutting off her possible means of escape if you should end up being a complete crazy person, which I know you're not, but she doesn't know that. Be aware of your space. Make sure that you're not completely blocking her off, that you're not completely cutting her in like that. That's not what you want, because that is going to terrify her, and she's going to immediately try to get the fuck out of there. So be very careful with that. Next, mastering powerful touch. Mastering touch in a way that's useful. This takes practice, but the way to practice it is by doing it. You want to touch somebody in a way that is both comfortable and conveys confidence, authority, and moves the ball forward. You want to keep moving the goalpost forward a little bit. Here's exactly how you do this. This is your step-by-step breakdown. Whenever you first start to touch somebody, whenever you break the touch barrier, which you should do when you first meet them, because if you're using the patented Jack North coaching best pickup line in the entire world, it's, hey, my name's Jack. Nice to meet you. What's your name? That already breaks the touch barrier, because they're going to shake your hand, and then you're, oh, it's so nice to meet you, Jessica. So, Jessica, and then you jump into whatever it is that you're going to talk about. You're breaking the touch barrier from the very beginning, and you're doing it in a confident and comfortable way. Throughout the interaction, as you increase the touch level, right? As you're using that, you're using it intentionally. It's part of something. It can't be touching just to touch. That's weird. That's creepy. Instead, you're touching to high five. You're touching to celebrate something. You're touching to drive a point home. You're touching to really connect with her on a deeper level. If you guys don't yet understand how this and the push-pull works, we're going to get to that in a minute. If you want an absolutely perfect demonstration of this along with the breakdown, you need to check out my Anatomy of a Date course. And here's the thing. You know what? I'm going to throw this one out there for you guys. Anybody who's watching this live right now, if you comment in the chat now, if you comment something, anything, it doesn't matter. Actually, comment anatomy. Spell it right, spell it wrong. I don't even care. Comment anatomy in the chat and I will give it to you completely for free. Okay. You're going to have to DM me your email address and I will manually add you in and give you the Anatomy of a Date course for free, where I break down exactly how I use touch and how I use push and pull on a real live date. So comment anatomy right now and I'll give it to you for free. So you need to master the powerful touch. Next is your voice and tonality. What are you conveying? What are you trying to say? What are you trying to tell her? Make sure that you're using this correctly. If you're not comfortable and confident in your own voice and tonality, one of the tricks that you can do, by the way, this is a trick that people often do for public speaking and for any kind of singing, warm-ups, vocal warm-ups. All right, I got you, Crow. I got you, Crow. I'm going to get you after this. You message me, cacao me your email address, and I'll give it to you. One of the techniques that you can use to help with your voice and tonality is very simple. You just hum the first bar to Happy Birthday. Just nah, and then all of a sudden your voice is going to drop by about half a pitch, and it's going to sound a lot more resonant, and it's going to sound a lot more confident and comfortable. This small little thing that you can do before you open up a conversation is going to help your voice have more weight, have more gravity to it. It's also going to kind of clear your sinuses a little bit, help you speak clearer, help you speak better. It's going to improve your voice quality a lot. And then all you have to do is remember your tonality. You want to be using dynamics. You want to be using your up and down. You want to be getting louder. You want to be getting softer at different times. You want to be speeding up, slowing down, using your voice effectively to communicate whatever it is you're trying to do. And the last one is the active engagement. This is the push-pull. This is something that I've talked about quite a bit, and I've gone through a ton in the Anatomy of a Date course. So still, anybody who comments that before the end of this lesson gets that completely for free. But once this lesson is over, if you're watching this on replay, too bad, so sad. Got to join in live. Now, the push-pull. I hate this webcam. Whenever I move at all, this thing is like, oh, so you want me to make it darker, huh? Okay, cool. But we changed the webcam today because we're using the nice camera to record directly so that we can repurpose this for content material and shorts later. So if you want the good quality version of this, it's going to be inside the bonus content inside of the actual course material. But anyhow, push-pull. This is where you're engaging her, not just by touching, but physically moving in a little bit. Being like, really, is that really what it? No, come on. You're literally physically pushing and pulling. You're moving in and out, but also you're using your voice to kind of push her a little bit, and then you're pulling, and then you're pushing a little bit, and then you're pulling. Oh, and that's what I meant to say with the touching earlier. I meant to hit this, and I forgot to do it. As you break the touch barrier and then you move along throughout, as you're escalating the touch, what you want to do is you want to take it to a point where it starts to feel a little bit uncomfortable. Not really uncomfortable. If you see her like weirding out or something, you've done something drastically wrong. However, if you see her like a little bit, okay, all right, cool. And then, this is important, don't back off of it. Let whatever that moment is finish. Don't hold it forever. Don't be weird, right? You're not going to like sit there and hold her hand forever. You want to just, whatever you were planning on doing, finish it out, see it through, and then pull back. And then about 10, 15 minutes later in the conversation, then you go back to that line. And at this point, if you've still been touching like normal from before, if everything's still going normally, now she should feel comfortable with this because you've shown her that you can be trusted, at least at this point. Maybe it's that you were touching her shoulder, you were touching her arm, or you had your arm around her or something like that. You need to build that comfort. It doesn't happen naturally. It doesn't happen instantly. You have to build that. This is how you do it. You reach the point where there's a tiny bit of resistance, and then you pull back. And now when you get there, there's no more resistance. But when you push forward a little bit more, now there's resistance again. Cool. Pull back to here. Wait a little bit, and then as you push forward again, now there's no resistance. And you keep on pushing it forward that way. That's how you escalate physically. That's how you build that physical intimacy. And you use the power of powerful touch to improve your body language and your nonverbal communication. Whew. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this lesson. I know, 20 minutes in, and I've got too much shit to talk about. This should have been a lesson all to itself, and this probably 3 lessons, but fuck it. You know, y'all are big boys. You can handle it, right? You're here to learn stuff completely for free. And here I am giving away even more. Oh, Jack, you're so magnanimous. Oh, Jack, you're so kind. What a benevolent and wonderful dictator you are. Yes, yes, yes. Let's go into her nonverbals. These are the things that you need to know to understand what she's trying to communicate to you. If you cannot understand these, if you cannot learn to read these, you will never understand what she's saying. And there will always be mystery around, why can't girls just be simpler, just be more obvious? Why can't they just say what they mean? And all that crap. So let's get into it. First of all, her body language basics. You need to look at her general posture. Her posture is going to tell you a lot. The way that she is standing or sitting as she's talking to you tells you a ton. First, if she's turned her body towards you, let's bring Roseanne back. If she's turned her body towards you, like Roseanne is now, then she's open to conversation. If she's half turned away like this, or if she's all the way the other way and just kind of like turning her head and like, she's literally getting ready to run away. So understand that her posture, where she's standing, this makes a huge difference. Now you might ask her something like, "Oh, are you okay? Do you need to go somewhere?" And she's going, "No. I'm just, I was waiting for some friends." And her words will lie to you. Her posture will not. Remember, only 7% of her communication is her words. Her words mean nothing. Pay attention to her body language and her nonverbals because that's 93% of it. So her posture. Also, is she standing with her arms open? Does she have her hands on her hips? Is she listening to you? Does she have a drink in her hand? Is she standing there and talking to you and like, that's really interesting. Oh, that's so cool. Wow, that's amazing. Is she using her hands? Or is she standing there with her arms crossed? Has she set her drink down and she's trying to find a way to leave as quickly as possible, even if it means leaving a free drink behind? Pay attention to whether she's open, physically open, or closed off. If she's sitting, then pay attention to her legs. Where her legs point tells you the exact same story as her upper body. If her legs are pointed away from you, but she's kind of turned and talking to you a little bit, she's not interested. If her legs are pointed toward you and her upper body is pointing towards you, she's very interested. She's very open. If she's facing you and her legs are spread, then she is extraordinarily interested in you and you are in like Flynn. Wow, that's a really old and very apropos reference for this particular lesson. Next, her gestures. What's she doing with her body? So we already covered the legs. Is she pointing her legs towards you, away from you? Are they pointed towards you and kind of open? Big difference there. She's very interested. Her arms. Is she arms crossed in a defensive position? Does she have like this kind of pose on? Is she doing any of these? Is she like subconsciously, right? She's not thinking about this. She's telling you how she's feeling, even if she's not thinking it. So are her arms open? Is she talking to you in a way that shows that she's open to being together at this moment with you? I don't mean that in a sexual way. I just mean she's open to having this conversation with you. Or is she closed off and she doesn't want to talk? Her hair. This is a big one. Whenever a girl like kind of plays with her hair a little bit, she flips her hair some. Girls do this without thinking. They don't realize they do it. Sometimes they know. But for the most part, they don't know that they're doing this. But if she gives the little hair thing, hair pull or a throwback or something like that, she's literally peacocking for you. She's trying to show off for you. She's extremely interested. So pay attention to cues like that. Next up, power of proximity. Is she getting closer to you? Is she leaning in? She's like, wow, that's so cool. Can you tell me more about that? Well, that's so neat. Oh my God, you're so funny. Oh, you're great. That's excellent news. But while you're talking, if you can see her actually like pulling away, maybe she actually moves her chair back or she steps back away from you to create more space, more distance, then either you have invaded her space in an uncomfortable and weird way. Don't do that. Or two, and this is more likely, she's just not interested and she's physically trying to get away. Again, she might not be thinking this, but her body is still acting based on instinct. She wants to get away, even if that's not what she says. She says, oh yeah, listen, I'm having a great time. I just really need to run to the bathroom. I'll be right back. But the whole time she's backing away and she's keeping space. She's using her hands to keep space between you so that you don't follow her. She's not interested, man. She might actually be going to the bathroom, but also she's definitely ghosting you. She's gone. So pay attention to these signals, to the body language, to what she's telling you without using her words. Next up, face the facts. Expressions explained. That's a mouthful. First off, eye contact. Is she making powerful and serious eye contact with you? Is she keeping that eye contact? Is she blinking a lot? That means she's really interested. That means she's like Twitter-pated, right? You guys have seen Bambi. I know that's an old fucking reference, but everyone's seen Bambi, right? You've seen Bambi. That means she's Twitter-pated. She's into it. She's turned on. She likes what you're putting down. So good, keep it up. But if her eyes are kind of darting around the room, she's literally looking for an escape. She's looking for a friend, for some reason to get out of here, for a bartender to offer her an angel shot, to what's the easiest way out of this crowd. She's literally trying to find an escape route right now. If you find yourself in a situation like that, or if she's kind of like backing away and spacing away, then just be like, oh, hey, don't worry, we're good. Anyway, have a good night. And then, kind of cheers at her. Don't wait for it. Don't even push this, right? Just offer a cheers. And then maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. Or offer a high five. Maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. Doesn't matter. And then you make your exit, right? Because you don't need to make her run away. If you can tell by her body language that she's not having it, it's okay. Give her the free pass, right? It doesn't matter. You're fine. You're better off leaving that one be. Next part on this is, the up-down. Woo, the up-down. You guys all know the up-down. And if you ever see the up-down, you'll know she's into it, where she does the like, she's like checking your whole body out. That's the up down. And if she gives you the up down, you're set. But you have to be watching. You have to be paying attention. You have to notice these things, But to notice them, you have to learn them, which is why I'm so disappointed in our community and the dismal attendance rate today. Or maybe, actually, just based on the comments alone, these numbers are just wrong because I'm seeing a lot more in there. Oh, welcome back. Wait, Pretty Ricky, your boyfriend says you should watch this? Pretty Ricky, is there something you're not telling us, buddy? Anyhow, let's keep this going. So next one is mouth. Is she smiling? And is it real or is it a fake smile? If she's giving you like the yeah, like when your grandmother tries to talk to you about politics and you're just yeah, yeah. You're absolutely right, Grandma. Oh yeah, I know. I hate all the what? Okay. Okay, Grandma. Right? Like, look, you guys know a fake smile. You've given them before. You've used this. Everybody uses these. Now you just need to learn to recognize it in others. They do all this stuff all the time. Or is she trying to hide a legitimate smile, not to give it all away? Like, if you get to the point where she's trying to hide a legitimate smile, not to give it away, you're already covering these bases. So, no, I'm going to throw that one out, Jack North. Oh, but that's okay. So, is she giving you real, genuine smiles? Is she actually, like, is she talking to you? Like, she's really excited. Can you see the lines in her eyes when she smiles? Can you see a little bit of the wrinkles up top? And we're going to get to that right here. But lip bites. If she's ever given you the lip bite, okay, cool. She's horny. She's into it. She's down. She is DTF, as the kids say these days. But pay attention, because if she gives you like that, okay, that's another lip bite, but that's a very different lip bite. That's I need to get the fuck out of here. I need to figure out an escape plan. Pay attention. Those are two very different things, even though they're both lip bites. This is why learning how to read the difference is very important. The next one is the pouts. If she gives you the pouts, if she gives you like the cutesy, oh, but why? Or, but, oh, you're so bad, or something like that. Those are absolutely cues to keep going. That means you're on the right track. That means what you're saying is working. Pay attention to that. The cutesy pouts are excellent. Big green flag. Next up, brow. Pay attention to the eyebrows and the forehead. This area as well. This is going to tell you a ton about her. The way that she angles her eyebrows when you're talking. Is she giving you the raised eyebrows like this? Is she's interested, she's curious, she wants to hear more, or maybe she's excited, or maybe she's giving you the furrowed brows like this, like, are you shitting me? Are you full of shit? What are you doing here? Maybe she's giving you the confused look. Maybe she's giving you all sorts of stuff. Pay attention up here. Also, look for the wrinkles. Look for the wrinkles behind the eyes, the crow's feet that show you a smile is real, is genuine. Look for the wrinkles up top on her forehead. Even though girls try not to do that because they're like, oh, but I don't want to get wrinkles. I'm going to look so old and ugly. And so sometimes they will actually try to smile with just their mouth and not their heads. That can happen, which is kind of what Paul was commenting about here earlier. If that happens, you'll need to be able to tell the difference by using these other clues. Because sometimes, yeah, a fake smile can be genuine. Maybe she's trying to hide it. Maybe she's trying to stop herself from getting wrinkles. But you'll be able to tell through the rest of her body language and through her subtext and through her tonality, because those don't change. Next up, let's get into the subtle subtext. What is she not saying, but she's saying it? So the hidden meanings, let's look at the example of I'm fine. Whenever somebody says I'm fine, that can have about 5,000 different possible meanings, right? So if you know that, you need to start to think a little bit closer about the subtext. If somebody's grandmother just died, and you say, "Oh, how are you doing? Are you okay?" And she's, "Yeah, I'm fine." She's not fine. She just doesn't want to talk about it. Or it just means like, well, I guess I'm not suicidal, right? So in that sense, I'm fine. YouTube's gonna absolutely delete me for that shit. You're not allowed to say the S word on here. Okay. Yeah, I'm not feeling like self-deletion, so I guess I'm fine. Or, if you ask her in a situation where you're like, "Oh, hey, how are you doing today?" She says, "Yeah, I'm fine." Just means nothing to say, nothing to report. Or if she says, "I'm fine," or I'm fine. I'm fine. I said I'm fine, right? Those are all different subtexts that she's giving you through both tonality and through situational subtext. So you need to pay attention to the situation. You can hear the words that she's saying and listen to those, but put them in the context of your situation. If you walk into a bar and a girl says, "Oh, hey, cutie, how are you doing today?" Oh, she's really interested in you, but she works there. Oh, she's not interested. She's just, she's just doing her job, right? Completely different situation. Literally, the same place, the same person, to you, the same third party, doesn't matter. Different situation, completely different subtext. And you are expected to know that even though the bartender kind of flirts with you, she's not interested in you, right? So you need to understand the situational subtext as well as what she assumes. So try to put yourself in her position mentally. Try to understand where she's coming at, and then you plug those words that she's using into that filter, into that frame that she has at this moment. I realize that this requires a lot of mental gymnastics on your part at first, but it quickly becomes second nature. When you start seeing everybody as like, "Okay, cool. I see your situation. I understand the frame that you have on things. I understand the filter through which you're looking at this particular situation. So now I can better understand your words." That's the hidden meanings. Next is genuine versus guarded. A lot of times people will say things. You'll hear this, right? If you're talking to somebody, maybe you're telling a story and they're like, yeah. Oh my God, then what happened? Or if they're, yeah, oh my God, then what happened? Are they open? Are they showing you excitement, interest? Are they showing you that they want to be part of your story, that they want to hear more? Or are they just letting you do your thing and they're being too polite to stop you, too kind to stop you? When in reality, they just wish you'd shut the hell up, right? So pay attention. Are they being genuine or are they being guarded? Next, red light, green light. You need to be listening not just to the words that she's saying, but also the subtext, her body language, her tonality. Is she telling you to keep going, or is she giving you the signals to stop? Now, she might not be giving you the signals to stop because she's not interested. It might just be, "Okay, but it's my turn to talk," or "I want to say something about that." So whenever you're talking, and this is a good example, whenever you're talking and you see her do something like, "Oh," and she doesn't want to interrupt you, she doesn't want to stop you, but she has something to say, don't interrupt your own sentence. Finish your sentence, and then you can throw it back to her. "I'm sorry, what were you about to say there?" That is how you can check for red lights and green lights during a conversation. Look for her bodily clues. Look for the things that she's doing. Look for the way that she's acting. Listen for her tonality, whether she's trying to kind of come to an end of her conversation and she wants you to pick it up, or if she wants you to stop so that she can pick it up, or if she wants you to keep going. All of those are possible. Okay, good. I got you, pretty Ricky. I'll send it to you. So you need to be paying attention for the red lights and the green lights during your conversation. Next up, tonality. Tonality is a big part of this. So You need to be listening to the pitch of somebody's voice. This is going to tell you a lot about how they're feeling and what they're saying. One of the things that you'll notice is that whenever somebody gets really excited, whenever they get really excited and they start to tell a story that they really want to get out, you can hear the pitch of their voice actually go up, like you just heard in my example, right? My voice gets higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. The more excited that I am to talk about something, the higher my voice goes. So if somebody's really excited and they're talking fast and their voice is high, they're very, very interested in what they're telling you. Now, the opposite is also true. If somebody's talking to you and they're like, oh, yeah, oh, what happened next? Oh, yeah. I mean, and then I stabbed him, right? Like, okay. But if her voice is low like that, a low tone, she's not interested. Now, I'm not talking about the natural pitch of their voice, because some girls naturally have that high little cutesy chipmunk voice all the time. And some girls have that deep baritone voice, right? But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the variation in their voice from its natural starting position. The same way that my natural starting tone, you guys can hear throughout this entire lecture. And then as I get more excited and I start talking a little bit quicker and a little bit higher, then you can feel the pitch change. The other part is the pacing. So this is something both for you to listen to and for you to be aware of in yourself. Two important things here. One is the actual speed, okay? Because the actual speed that somebody is talking with can indicate a few different things. If they're talking very quickly, if they're really talking fast, then either they're excited or they're anxious. So pair the speed. Let's do it this way. Pair the speed with the pitch, basically your X and Y axis, right? If the speed is fast, but the pitch is low, she's very anxious. She's very worried about something. She's not feeling comfortable. Something is going wrong here. But if she's speaking fast and her voice is high, then she's really, really excited and she has to tell you this thing. And it's like the most important thing in the world. Like, oh my God, you'll never believe what happened next. Oh my God, right? That's a good sign. That means she feels like she's making a good connection with you and she wants to tell you more. The other is also true. If she's slow, that doesn't necessarily mean that she's not excited, but it means that she's feeling comfortable or she's in control of this. Same thing that you should be focused on, but I'm going to give you examples in a minute. So if she's speaking slowly and her pitch is low, she's speaking cautiously. She's not really sure. She's taking her time and she's trying to figure you out. Maybe she's trying not to make you mad. Maybe she's trying to make sure that you aren't a crazy person who's about to stab her when she leaves, right? She's feeling cautious. She's nervous. But if she's talking high and she's talking slow, then she's really trying to make a point to you. She's really, really trying to tell you something. And it's almost like she's trying to tell you a secret, which is, again, a very, very powerful tool in your arsenal. So, and in her arsenal. So we're going to get to the secrets in a minute. But wait, did we already do that? Oh, no, it's down here. Okay, good. Excellent. So for you, whenever you're focusing on pacing, you need to make sure that you are in control and aware of what you're doing. Not just your speed, not just your pitch, but also how you use space in your conversation. You can use, especially, and this is especially true for you guys here in Korea, whenever you're talking to Korean girls, English isn't her first language, you start rambling and going, da, 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 and they just glaze over there. Oh, I don't know. He's cute, but I don't have any idea what he's saying, right? Doesn't help. Instead, what you want to do is you want to use spacing and you want to use vocal accents to punch the most important words in a sentence. So, for example, if I was going to tell a girl, I'm originally from Texas, but I've been in Korea for 14 years, so I'm basically Korean. This is a sentence that I say a lot here. Then what I would do with that sentence is I would say, well, the thing is that I'm originally from Texas, but I've been in Korea for 14 years now. So at this point, I'm basically Korean. All that's important there is Texas with the tonality leading down, and then the but. At this point, I've been here for 14 years. Again, high pitch, stretched. I'm really emphasizing this point. 14 years. So at this point, I'm basically Korean. Cool. Now, if you listen to that sentence, and if you need to, pause this, play that back, and listen for the pitch that I'm using. Listen for the pacing. Listen to where I speed up, where I slow down. Listen to where I stretch the words out. Listen to where I punch the words, and understand that this is how you can talk to somebody who doesn't speak English very well, and you can speak to them with very little loss in communication, especially if you master your own body language and nonverbal communication, because the words are only 7% of it. So if she can understand 1% of what you say, then she can understand 94% of what you're saying. Now, that's actually totally inaccurate. That's totally inaccurate. I know one of you autists in there is going to be like, but Jack, that's not how percentages work. And that's not actually what this study showed. I know. It's just more fun this way. Let's quickly finish this up. The last one is volume and dynamics. Literally, how loud are you talking? This is a problem of mine, especially once I start drinking. Once I start drinking, I get louder and louder and louder and louder because I'm so excited and I'm having a great time and my voice goes up until I explode or pass out, whichever one comes first. But you can also use the opposite to make a very serious point. So you can use whispers. Whispers are incredibly effective. Hey, let me tell you a secret. Come here. I'm going to tell you something that nobody else knows about me. Or you can go the other way around and you can say, okay, all right, I have a challenge for you. Tell me a secret that you wouldn't ever want your parents to know about you. Okay? And you get her to whisper something in your ear. This is not just effective because it raises and lowers the volume, but also it brings you back into proximity, brings you closer together. It feels intimate. It feels like you're sharing something really important, even if the secret is something dumb, right? Doesn't matter. Also, using a commanding voice for certain things. This is not something that you should use at them, but you can use a commanding voice for certain things. So here's a great example. I'm talking to a girl and I say, hey, I'm going to go to the bar and get another beer. Do you want another beer? And she says, yeah, I'd love a pina colada. And you say, right, you get a beer. Commanding voice, and then you turn and walk away. She gets a beer. That you can use that vocal intonation and that vocal volume to communicate a lot more than like you get a beer. Those are the words, but you guys understand what I'm communicating with all that, right? You understand that I'm saying, I'm not buying you a fucking pina colada. Also, I'm not making the bartenders do that. They're busy as hell. I'm not waiting up there at the bar for another 20 minutes while they mix this stupid fucking drink. No, you're getting a beer. Or I'm getting 2 beers. Either way, win-win, really. That's what you're communicating through using that particular tonality in that situation. It's absolutely a tool in your toolbox. It's not one to abuse or use a lot, but you should be able to get there when you need. And the in-between is literally everything in between whispers and commanding. Using your full vocal range, using the volume, using the dynamics, using the speed, using the pacing, using the pitch of your voice. Controlling all this stuff is going to communicate a ton. Learn how to master this yourself and learn how to read what other people are saying when they're using it to you. Now, fucking mosquitoes. Ugh. You guys already know my feelings about October. Anyway, with all that said, if you've made it this far and you haven't done it yet, please hit the like button. Genuinely, every single one of you watching, hit the like button right now, please, because it does make a huge difference in the channel, in the metrics, in the way that the algorithm treats us. Please hit the button if you haven't done it. Hit the subscribe thing, right? Like, you know, YouTube loves this stuff. They get all hot and bothered for every little like, for every little subscription. And if you're in here and you haven't done it yet, type the word anatomy into the chat right now, and then cacao me your email address, and I will give you for free. I will give you the Anatomy of a Date course completely free, but only if you do it before I finish this speech. So, for those of you who need help with mastering your nonverbal communication and how to understand that in other people, maybe you're not sure what they are meaning, or maybe you're not sure what they're doing with it, or maybe you're not sure how to control it yourself and you want a little bit of extra help. I have great news for you. The news is you can learn all of this stuff completely for free right now. And all you have to do is go over to realjacknorth.com right now. You can sign up for a free call with me today, completely free. You don't even have to put in a credit card, nothing at all. No signups, nothing. You just choose your time, and then I will personally work with you one-on-one. I'll have a call with you where we will discuss your body language or whatever other dating issues you're having. No matter what your situation is right now, it can be better. And if you want to improve it, instead of just sitting on your ass and watching YouTube all day, all you have to do is go over there, sign up for a free call with me right now. Go to realjacknorth.com, hit the big blue button that says book your free call today, or get your free call, or sign up for your free call, or whatever it is that it says on there. I can't remember. But hit the button, sign up for your free call, and you can start learning all this stuff completely for free today. Now, with all that said, and a full university lectures later, it's time to move on to the Q&A part of our live stream today. Thank you, Paul, for being so patient today. And this is 3 weeks in a row that Julius has said, like, I'm going to be there, man. I'm definitely going to be there. I'm there. I'm in. Okay. Well, whatever. His loss. All right. Now let's get you set up. This is, I hadn't considered this yet. Simba, move. Using the two cameras is going to be a bit awkward for the live stream audience because all we've got is the webcam up there. That's okay. That's all right. Here's what we'll do. I'm going to set up shop here. And, I'm going to set up shop here, and let's angle this a little bit better. And I'm going to talk to you guys here.
It's actually not half bad.
Yeah, that's fine, right? I think that's fine. So, Paul, cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I went to this insanely good Young Kalbi restaurant today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was freaking amazing.
Not the one that we went to the other day?
No, this one is like more like fine dining Young Kalbi down in...
Oh, Young Kalbi. Yeah.
Yeah, down in Hoptown. It was really, really good.
Nice. Where was it?
Hoptown.
Okay. So still in your neck of the woods. Still there.
Yeah, it's
good.
pretty close. Crow says it looks better than normal.
This looks better than normal?
That's what he says.
Oh, yeah. I mean, probably just because you can actually completely see me instead of the little half cut off thing that we normally get. Okay, cool. Well, thank you for your patience on what was a very long lesson today. You know, when I first got this big whiteboard, I thought oh man, I don't know how I'm going to fill this thing up. Am I just going to have to write really big to make it? But no, instead I just decided, well, clearly there's a ton to say, so I'll just make the whiteboards longer.
I think it's good. I think it's a very good lesson. I think it's something that everyone needs to know.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the more important ones we've had in the past probably 6 months.
Yeah, and one of the weird things to me is that people don't know this. I literally wasn't aware that this was an issue until last week when we answered that question. And we talked about where to keep your hands. And we got feedback from guys saying, oh my God, I never thought about that. That changes everything. Oh, I feel so much more comfortable now. And I was like, wait, you didn't know this?
Yeah.
So that's why we decided to make it the topic this week, right?
Yeah, it's also been a lot, like whenever I've been out with the guys for the past week, like we've been out a lot recently, right? And I've been trying to pay attention to what all like the community members are doing out, and like you see these like verbal cues that comes again and again, and people forget, or like
Sure.
they don't know how to like control their own body to like maintain that strong posture. And I think
Right.
it's a really good thing that we discuss this and kind of bring this up at this point.
Yeah.
We're also coming into a time of the year where this gets even more important because now, like, those summer flirts are over. Everything is like we're going into the cold winter, which is also, it can also be the harder season to date in.
Yeah.
So I think this is definitely a very good timing for talking about body language in general.
Perfect. Excellent. Good. Because I think it's very useful. And I've also noticed as we're out together with some of the guys in the community, they may not be reading the signals that the girls are sending them correctly. Right? Like most of the time. So that is definitely something to consider. And for those of you watching, if there were any parts in here that maybe you understand what I mean by it, but you don't understand what to do with it, or like, how do I respond to these signals? Ask those questions in the comments and we can answer them.
Yeah, because we don't have very many questions today, but I think I think I have some other questions we can ask to like.
Yeah, I mean, I sent you like 6 or 7 that got submitted as well.
But they're also not very like big. Some of them are very short questions to answer, I think.
Did anybody end up submitting stuff in the Discord? Like after I sent that message earlier,
Crow submitted one in the Discord, and Ricky is typing out a question right now.
Beauty.
So I think we can just jump straight into it.
Let's jump to Crow's question first, since he's here live. And anybody who's not here live, fuck you. You're second.
Yes. So Crow's question was, how do you save the conversation? You've been having a fun time with the girl, but now you notice her body language start to sour. What do you do to turn the mood around?
So what I do in a situation like that, if I know what happened, right? If I'm aware of it, if I say something and then I see a sudden change in her body language, depends on what it is, right? Because if I say something like, I'd rather not talk about politics, and she's like, no, I think it's really important. Tell me, like, who'd you vote for in the last election? And I'm like, well, I'll tell you. And then when her face sours, I'm like, yeah, I told you didn't want to talk about it. Then I would double down and change the topic. But if it was something else where like I made a mistake or I said something wrong, then I would actually address it directly and be like, oh, wow, that sounded way different in my head. Tell you what, here's what we're going to do. We're going to rewind, and then I'm going to re-answer that. I would address the awkwardness, and because if you just let it sit, it festers. So instead, if you feel like you've made a mistake, an actual mistake, not something you want to double down on, don't back off of something that you truly believe. But if it's something that you want to back up from and be like, yeah, that sounded better in my head, then it just didn't land, acknowledge it, literally play the rewind button, like do it like a Wayne's World skit or something. You guys, you're too young to even know Wayne's World probably, but do it like a Saturday Night Live skit. You know that one. And own it and then redo. Just do over. Because that shows her that you're confident, that you understand, oh, that was a social faux pas. Here, let me fix it. It shows a lot of stuff. It communicates a lot of confidence.
Yeah. Another thing I think is really good about doing exactly like my answer is very similar to yours. Like in the case where the conversation has been going good and the body language changes very suddenly, you either said something to offend her, you said something that was really weird and she's kind of creeped out, or someone else did something that she's weirded out about.
Yeah.
The two first, like if you notice it and you address it, like she's instantly going to forgive you, but it also shows a very high emotional intelligence, because you show her that you are able to read social cues, you are able to understand the conversation and what's going on around you.
Mhm.
And like that can actually take you from, like, say we rate her attraction from you from 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Like you've been doing good around like a 6 or a 7, and then you fucked it up. You went down to a 5 or even 4. Like she's kind of a little bit unsure, and then you show her that, okay, I fucked up. Like I'm sorry. I'll give you the answer again, and then uh, what that will do is, in her mind, that means you're actually better suited to be a partner anyway. So her affection might actually jump from a 4 or 5 at that point up to an 8 or 9, which
Yeah.
means you instantly become more attractive just because you know how to handle yourself in a social situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Demonstrating social intelligence and emotional intelligence is really difficult to do. So when you have the opportunity to do it, you should take it. Even if that means that you have, even if that means that you've made a mistake, it shows that you understand. Oh wait, when that landed on my ears, I also hear it now, right? Here, let me fix that. Own it, fix it, and you're demonstrating your social intelligence, social awareness, your ability to read her signs, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, very important to be able to do that. So yeah, Crow, that's what I would do. Let's pick up Pretty Ricky's.
Yes. So this is a pretty long one.
It's okay.
I'll put up the first one here first. Last weekend there was a girl we kissed. She touched around, and then she blocked his number, Kakao Talk, everything. Um, that somehow made me wonder if a girl used seductive touches and body language to enjoy making the guys feel needy for them. So how do you figure out whether the girl is actually into you or not? That is my question.
Here's the thing. It sounds like she gave you a totally open door and then you didn't walk through it. Right? So, why not? Because it's very possible. I mean, like, this idea, oh, yeah, maybe she's just using it to play games to make guys feel needy. Maybe, possibly, but why? To what end, right? What benefit does she get out of that? She already gets all the attention that she wants. There is literally no shortage of attention for women, especially not in the world of Tinder, Hinge, Bumble, Instagram, Facebook, whatever else. She can get all the attention and neediness she wants. That's not what she was after. Instead, she gave you the opening. She gave you the chance. You didn't walk through the door. You told her, I like what you're doing, but I need you to walk me through it, mommy. Can you help me through the door? Oh, fuck that. So she's gone. She's out. You lost her. Now, the next day she blocked you entirely. Why? Well, few questions there, right? Few possibilities. Maybe she got drunk and she doesn't remember who you are. That's a possibility. Maybe she felt guilty for cheating on her boyfriend. Maybe she was turned off by you not actually taking the lead and doing the thing that you were supposed to do that night. Maybe she just didn't feel like moving things on. Maybe because you didn't even bother to schedule a follow-up date with her. Maybe because you just said like, oh, okay, well, we'll talk later. And you left things really open and weird and awkward. Here's the thing, though. Whatever the situation is, you had one opportunity. You had the opportunity. You chose not to take it. Now it's gone. Maybe she found someone else that night and now she has a boyfriend and so she can't be talking to you. Maybe. But working in this world of maybes and what ifs and whys and all that means absolutely jack shit. The only thing that matters is you had a chance and you missed it. Now, I'm going to teach you something, the most important. So, Pretty Ricky, pay close attention to this. When I was about 18, my dad sat me down and he told me something very important. He gave me a very important piece of life advice. He said, listen, Jack, here's the thing. Throughout your life, there are going to be plenty of women who you know. Some you're going to know platonically. Some you're going to know biblically. And most of them will have a lasting impression on you. You'll remember most of them. Some of them you might not remember their last names after a while. And eventually, even first names or faces might start to fade off into memory. But there's one list of girls that you will never forget for your entire life. And that is the list of girls that you could have hooked up with, but you didn't. Your job as a single man, your only job is to keep that list as short as possible, because that's going to be the list of regrets that haunts you at night. So don't pass up an opportunity. And Pretty Ricky, you're learning this lesson the hard way. Don't pass up your opportunity. Don't assume she's still going to be around tomorrow. Don't assume she's going to be around a week from now. If you have the chance, take it tonight. What do you think, Paul?
I think you're spot on. So I'm just going to jump straight into the follow-up from Ricky here. He said she left telling me that she's got to leave and had no idea what to do afterwards. Probably the fact that she's just saying, I got to leave, it literally means, I'm sorry, you took too long to ask me to go to your place.
Yep.
Like, in a lot of cases, that is actually the case. Like, she's just tired of waiting. Like, yeah, it's fun to hook up, but I want something more. And if you're not giving that, then I'm going to grab Monster Pizza and hope I can find someone else there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I have to go just means, right, well, clearly you're not going to give me the dick tonight that I wanted, so I'm going to go find it somewhere else.
Yeah. And then Crow had a follow-up to his question, and that is, if it wasn't you, but it was a third party doing it, that kind of fucked up.
In the social faux pas?
Yeah. Well, I can say from experience that is a very hard thing to get around. Once, especially if it is your friends or like people that you know, because if your friends or your people or your group that you're hanging out with that night is creeping your girl out, that means you are losing social score and social value very fast. And that can very often not be recoverable, at least in my experience.
So I really wish that we had Julius here to answer this question, because the number of times that drunk Jack has blown up his shit is uncountable at this point. But here's the thing, is that he's usually able to handle it. And he's just like, sorry about Jack. Whenever he gets drunk, he turns into a fucking chimpanzee, right? Like, he doesn't mean any harm. He's just being a wild child. It's okay. But anyway, where were we? And then he again, same as I said earlier, he just kind of owns it, recognizes what it is, owns it, and then brushes it off like it's nothing, which is the correct response. Now, it doesn't mean that it's guaranteed to work 100% of the time, right? And drunk Jack has blown shit up so bad that there is no recovery, of course. But your best shot is own it, call it out, right? I'm sorry about my friend. He's drunk and he turns into an asshole when he's drunk, but he's fine. He's harmless. He's just talking out of his ass. It's fine. Anyway, so what were we talking about? Right. And then you jump back into the conversation and act like it's nothing. As long as he doesn't stick around, right? Like if he just pops in and like, just does some weird shit and then walks away, then it's fine. Or if he doesn't, right, and you need to encourage him to leave, be like, Jack, somebody was looking for you downstairs. It was the girl with a pink boa on. What? There's a pink boa here in the bar? Oh, fuck yeah, that's going to be awesome, right? And just send me on a mission, right? Like, do that. Use things like that, and then whenever you send your friend away, then own it, right? Yeah. Sorry about my buddy. He's a dumbass.
I think for other third parties, like if there's Like people trying to cock block you that you don't know. There can be like those, like you just have to own the situation. Like you said, yeah, okay, I have no idea who it is. Uh, Sorry that he's making you uncomfortable. If
Yeah.
you want, we can go somewhere else,
Yeah.
right? And just own the situation and offer a solution to it in that case.
Mm.
Because most likely, if she was having fun up till that moment where the third party fucked it up, then moving location, owning it, showing the social intelligence to actually understand it, and then swapping locations is very often the answer.
Yeah. Now on that point, I hadn't considered that, like with strangers. Here's the thing: if you've just approached somebody and some dude comes over and tries to cock block you, which happens all the time here in Korea, like every single time we do a boot camp weekend, somebody will do an approach and then immediately some Korean guy will come over and try to cock block it, right? And when that happens, the only answer, the only way that you deal with this is you ask the girl, you're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, is this your friend? Do you know him?" And she's usually like, "No, I have no idea who that is." And you're like, "Okay, dude, go away." Right? Even still, you only have about a 10% chance of recovery in a situation like that. Because not because you've done anything wrong, but because the stink of some beta trying to white knight his way in has rubbed off on you. Not your fault. Nothing you can do about it. But most likely, he's blown up your set. He's just absolutely Allahu Akbar your thing. And he's blown you both up.
It happens
It happens.
way too often.
Still, though, like, even when it happens, you're like, okay, cool. Well, at least this time, I did nothing wrong. Didn't do nothing, baby. All right, and then you just take that as a draw and you move on, right? It's fine.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the submitted questions.
Yes. Then the first one here is from the of the list that the kid has put together. Is what if I want to learn how to have a better body language? What are some good movies or series that I can watch for and get good example of characters to emulate?
Watch older movies. Watch Paul Newman. Watch Steve McQueen. Watch James Dean. Watch these older movies where the men were written to be men, where they were written to be cool and calm and collected, where they had good body language all the time. Try to take what you learn from there and apply it to modern society in a way that makes sense. Because like nowadays, the leather jacket and aviators don't look nearly as fucking cool as they did on James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause. But if you go back and you watch the body language and the speech patterns of, say, Paul Newman in Cool Hand Luke or in The Sting or something like that, or you go and you watch Steve McQueen in The Great Escape, you watch how these manly men use their body language, use their subtext, use their tonality to communicate a lot of things. On kind of the other side of the spectrum, but still in the same general era. Check out old westerns. Look at old Clint Eastwood films. Look at old John Wayne films. Basically, anything that was made before 1980, the men are written to be men, with a few notable exceptions. Like don't come back to me and be like, I watched John Wayne be Genghis Khan, and so I learned. No, no, not that one, right? Watch the Cowboys, right? Watch Big Jake, right? Like watch the movies where they're actually like manly men. Watch The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Watch The Magnificent Seven, and you're gonna see good examples of masculine behavior, masculine body language, masculine tonality, and especially follow their speech patterns, because you'll notice that they speak a little bit slower, a little bit cooler, calmer, collected, and they mean every single word. What do you think, Paul?
I think those are all very, very good options. Definitely, I probably watched most of them myself too. There's also another style of both movies and TV shows that are actually very good for learning body language, and that is movies or TV shows about con artists.
Yes.
So, Catch Me If You Can, White Collar, like these kind of both movies and TV shows, like where the character has to be confident to actually do what they do, because being
Absolutely.
a con artist is a confidence game, right?
Yeah.
So they will be very well written in the term of showing off good confidence through good body language, the way they speak, all of these things, and so those are very, very good. The
That's
other one,
literally what con artist means. It's a
yeah,
confidence artist, right?
yeah.
Use that.
Uh, Another one that is a little more interesting, and this is, I think it was kind of a semi spin-off from some like crime shows. It's called Lie to Me,
Oh yeah.
because
I've seen
that is a whole TV show around analyzing body language.
Yes.
But so
I
not
found
it's
that
not
one
a good
boring.
thing for learning body language,
Mm.
but it's a good one for learning how to notice all of these micro things in facial expressions.
Yeah, absolutely. The micro expressions.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting one. Another one that might be useful, and I don't know, but you might want to watch old, not dating shows, but old like game show type things like the Newlywed Game or something like that, where you can see the back and forth, the body language and the types of communication that these newlyweds are using. You can see a lot of communication happening between them that you wouldn't see normally because it's natural, right? It's not like today's reality shows where everything is, if not scripted, is pretty fucking close to scripted.
Mm.
Uh, don't watch modern dating shows. Like, don't watch shit like Love Is Blind or like the crap that Lady North watches on Netflix. Like, that's might be entertaining, might be fun, but it's not going to teach you anything because those are all scripted to create certain emotions in you, the viewer, not to show the emotions and the feelings of the actual participants. Older Family Feud, and you can see some of like the facial expressions and the frustration on the people who aren't giving the answer, right? Look for things like this. There's a ton of stuff that is going to help you to better see body language and train you to spot things like this. But for things to emulate, I would absolutely watch movies that were made for men before 1980. Even honestly, even con artist type movies since then, right? If you think of something like 21, like Kevin Spacey isn't really delivering that much in terms of confidence or body language there.
I know one that's actually pretty good.
Okay.
That is the Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12 series. Those
So
are pretty valid.
at the very least, Ocean's 11 teaches you some things, but even those, the characters aren't quite what. If you're going to watch Ocean's 11, watch the movie that it was based on. Watch The Sting or watch the original Italian Job, not the Jason Statham remake, but the one from like 1965 or something. Watch those films that are based on men being men, but also they're working in con artists. Or another Paul Newman one. I think it was The Hustler, the one where he's playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So there you go. Perfect. Paul Newman playing a con artist, like that's going to be absolute gold for learning how to demonstrate certain things, for learning how to bring people in, for learning how to push, pull. stuff like that. Yes, of course, it's written and they're following a script, but they chose the actors because they were able to do this anyway, right? So have a look at some of those things. A later one, this one's not very masculine, but in the similar vein to Lie to Me, and as a TV show, there's a show called The Mentalist that went on way too long, right? Like, and it lost the plot after a few seasons. But the first few seasons where he's demonstrating a lot of his con artist skills, I've literally stolen bits from that show and used them in bars and in different situations, and people are just like blown away by them. You can use things like that. And the main character, Patrick Jane, his use of intonation, his speech patterns during that, his ramble versus his like serious and like, let me, I'm going to connect with you on a deep level, all this stuff. Have a look at some of that stuff, because even if the show kind of, tapered off towards the end, doesn't matter. The stuff that it's teaching you is excellent. So have a look at some of that for sure.
Another thing you can look at for learning tonality and facial expressions is actually look at older presidential speeches. Because if you look from president speeches from like the mid 80s to around 2000, you will notice that the way people talk, the way they make their facial expressions, how they use tonality in getting their points off, how they use the way they speak and the pitch of their voice to demonstrate what they really want you to feel versus what they actually say. They can say things that where the first part of the sentence sucks, but because they say it in such a boring, meaningless way, you only hear the last part, which you're supposed to think is good.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of these things with presidential speeches are really, really good to kind of practice into.
Two absolute masters at the speeches being basically nothing but sounding amazing were JFK and Obama.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in how to make empty words sound incredible, check out their stuff. Now, if you want to see how a ramble can work to draw people in and how to use a push and pull on a whole audience, how to seduce literally thousands of people at once, watch videos of some of Trump's rallies, not his presidential speeches, because as a president, like his speaking, it's too off the cuff, it's too informal, it doesn't have the same weight as your orators like JFK and Obama. But if you watch his rallies, when he's like really in his element, he's there in a crowd of thousands of people, and he's just working the crowd like an absolute master stand-up comedian. Watch his rallies, because they will teach you a lot about how to use speaking patterns to generate energy and to like push people and then pull them right back and just set up a joke, right? The guy is absolutely a masterclass in public speaking. Whether it doesn't matter if you like him or not, it doesn't matter if you agree with what he's saying. That's not the point. The point is listen to how he works the crowd. Listen to how he speaks. And if you're paying attention to it from an academic rather than a political standpoint, you will learn a ton from that.
Yeah.
Now, let's move on to the next question, because that was a long answer.
I think this next one is going to be quite short. So you're meeting with the girl for the first time from like, I would say we're meeting for the first date. I'm going to rephrase it like that. So that, because the question is like kind of related onto online dating, but I think it's perfectly fine to assume that the answer is going to be the same whether you like met once, got her phone number on the street, and then you set up the date a couple of days later. Okay, so when you meet, how do you go for the initial greeting? Do you immediately go for a hug a handshake, like a half hug, a side hug? What do you do?
Ew, gross. Uh, um, hug, hug. That's basically your answer every single time. If I was gonna say like unless it's a blind date, but even if it's a blind date, you still want to establish from the beginning, right? Like no,
Yeah.
I would absolutely go for the hug. There's now if it's somebody who I've already met before, and this is clearly a date, like this is important because a lot of you guys, you kind of like you try to like soft pedal this thing and you're like, oh, let's meet up or something. Like, no, let's go on a date. Let's go have a drink, right? Use the word. If you use the word date, she's there. It's very clear that it's a date, and it should be because it is. But if it's clear that it's a date, you go in for the hug and a kiss on the cheek. And then your turn. Don't forget yours. And you get her to do it as well. Now, if she doesn't feel comfortable, she's like, oh, I don't know, like maybe later, then okay, don't push it. But again, like I was saying earlier, you find where the boundary is, and then you come back to it a bit later, and then you find where the boundary is, and then you come back a bit later. Same thing here. You want to start out there because that should be where you want things to start out. She might not be there yet, but that's okay. You'll get her there.
Yeah, I think that's exact same. For me, like the kiss on the cheek is a little too French for me, so I don't necessarily do that. But always go for the hug every single time.
Yeah.
Make sure you break that initial touch barrier.
Yeah.
Always be very careful with how you use your hands when you go in for that hug, because that hug can be very comfortable and like very welcoming, or it can be very creepy very fast. My tendency is like one arm always on the back of the shoulder, because that okay, then everything is okay. It's little further than the touch barriers on your shoulders here, but it's also like it's a very comforting, like very warm way of hugging someone or greeting someone, and instantly like you're free to touch their arms for the rest of the day.
Yeah, hug her like she's your grandma.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go, right? Because Paul's exactly right. Like you're not trying to give her like a bear hug or something.
Yeah.
Right? But you just, oh, it's good to see you. Come here. Oh, yeah, I'm glad that we finally got to meet. Jack kisses me on the cheek whenever he sees me. Yeah. Well, now you know. Now you know, Crow.
Yeah. I think
Yeah, I'm a very physical and expressive person. And so to me, and this is an important thing. I tell you guys this all the time, but whenever you're out with me, you actually see it in action. Make it seem like it's just the most natural thing in the world. It's just what comes next, right? Because to Crow's point, right? Like I give him a kiss on the cheek whenever I see him because I'm just excited to see him. He's a good guy. He's a good friend, right? It's just the most natural thing in the world. It's just what happens next. Other people don't do that. If Paul did that to him, it would be weird because it's not natural, because it's not the obvious thing that just happens next. But when I do it, it is. Why? Because it actually is totally natural. It's just what happens next. Sorry, you don't like it? Too bad. Don't hang out with me then. Right? Like that's the way you deal with it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. What's on next?
On next is, are there any like body language cues in the East that are either are different or have a different meaning from the ones in the West?
Here's a big one. It doesn't have a different meaning, but you wouldn't normally see it in the West. A big one is if a girl covers her mouth. If she covers her mouth, then that means she's feeling self-conscious or embarrassed, which usually is a good thing if you're in control of the situation. So here's a perfect example. Was right before I left to come over here to prepare for the live stream. I was talking to my secretary and I told her about today's live stream topic. And I was like, oh yeah, today I'm going to be teaching about body language and about, nonverbal communication and stuff. And she's like, what? Like, do you even know about body language and verbal and nonverbal communication? Like, come on, what are you, like some behavioral psychologist? I'm like, oh, not exactly. But I know more than probably 90% of people out there. In fact, I can see exactly what you're thinking and feeling right now based on your body language. And she goes, what? Can you really? Oh my God. And she literally pulled away and covered her mouth and turned her eyes down. And I was like, right. So
Embarrassed.
literally right there, what you did, and she didn't even realize she did any of this stuff. That's what makes it so powerful. She wasn't doing it because she was thinking about it, but she unconsciously pulled her body back away. So I pushed, she pulled, right? And she pulled her body back away, turned her eyes down, breaking eye contact, looking down, shy, embarrassed, and covered her mouth. And then when I pointed that out to her, she like went red and she's like, oh my God. So do you know all my secrets? Can you like read my mind? And I was like, yeah, basically.
That's true, right? Like that is the thing with learning to know body language and learning to read body language, is that you will actually be able to understand and read a lot of what people do. There's another one that I can think of that is a very different meaning. That is the emotion of doing this.
Oh.
Which in the West means fuck off. Well, here it actually means come here.
Yeah, come here. Yeah.
So
but this is like for a dog over here.
Yeah.
And
so here is for like people in Korea.
This would be very rude to people in Eastern countries. But you do this instead, and that's like, come here. Yeah. That is a very important one. I'm glad that you pointed that out. That one definitely takes some getting used to.
Another thing I think we haven't really talked about today is how you can use body language to ask permission without saying anything.
That's an interesting.
So have you ever done the like you're in an intimate setting and then you look her in the eyes and then you like slowly, like over the course of like a second, you move your eyes down from her eyes down to her lips and then back up very calmly and controlled, right?
Mm-hmm.
It gives away that you're thinking about kissing her, but it also is a very subtle way of asking, is it okay? And she will do the exact same motion. If she accepts it, then she will look you in the eyes, look down, and look back up, because then she's thinking about it too, right? Like not a word has been said, but you just got the green light to kiss her.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you feel unsure and you want to confirm it verbally, right? If you're there and you want to confirm it, then instead of saying, is it okay if I kiss you, or can I kiss you? Instead, you can just say, I'm going to kiss you now.
Yeah.
And then you lean in.
Yeah, because then you either she's going to lean straight in or you get that no.
Right. And that's okay, right? Because you're getting the confirmation or the denial either way. But if you want to verbalize it, instead of making it a question, make it a statement, not a command. It's a statement. I'm going to react.
Because that is and then you have to like read the body language of the reaction, right?
Of course. Because if you say that and she like, wait, what? Right, then it's like, oh, abort. It's a trap.
The last question here, though,
from the
kid is, what is the number one body language mistake even advanced guys will make? And I will tell my own, because I've noticed myself doing it even while we're having this stream.
Yeah.
And that is, I tend to sit like this. Whenever like I'm not talking or while I'm listening, my listening position is kind of leaning in, but still using my hand to hold my head in like a thinking position rather than keeping my arms around here, right?
Mm.
And for me, that has always been a thing. Like, always have my hand up here somehow.
Using
Not,
your hands while you're talking or while you're sitting is a lot different than it is while you're standing.
I know, but like this one particularly, like the problem with it is that it can seem boring, or that I seem like
Like
she's
you're
boring,
bored.
yeah, or that my mind is just somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
So this is one for me is this one, and the one that especially like in the beginning of a night before I get like little warm, like get my beers in, like I can be a little bit like closed off.
Standoffish. Yeah.
Yeah. But that also fits with my personality, right? Like it's usually who I am.
Yeah.
I can be a little bit standoffish.
Yeah. It happens.
Yeah. But also like for me, those are one of the things. Other things that I see is people that are like that normally shake their legs. Yeah, that's why I'm taking it, because I do the same. Like if I have my feet down on the ground and if I don't actually tilt it so that my heel is in front of my knee,
Mm-hmm.
my legs will just start to shake.
Yeah.
But for most people, that is a sign of nervousness.
Yeah.
So people are
Right.
like, "Why are you so anxious? Why are you so nervous? This
Yeah.
is fun." Yeah, it has nothing to do with you, but
Right.
it gives off the wrong like feeling or vibe in the situation you're in.
This is especially true in Korea because in Korea, not only do they view this as a sign of nervousness, like now I'm conscious of it and I'm keeping it going intentionally.
Yeah.
They don't just view it as a sign of nervousness, they view it as bad luck because they
Yeah.
say that if you do that, your money will fall out of your pocket.
Oh, I've heard a different one. I've heard it like when you're doing that, you're basically shaking your soul out of your body.
Magnificent. Now, it is a thing to be aware of. And so if you're in a situation where you want your body language to be communicating a certain thing, do what you have to make sure that that doesn't happen. But if you guys have learned anything tonight, then you would know, God damn it, mosquitoes. Then you would know that my body language right now, even if my knee is shaking, my body language right now is totally open, is very cool, calm, collected. I'm showing complete comfort. All right, Crow, I'll catch you next time, buddy. Have a good one. Oh, and if you didn't yet, cacao me your email address and I'll add you into the free course. So this can ruin the rest of my body language.
Yeah, exactly.
Now this is a good example of. I'm sorry, Paul. You go ahead, and then I'll do my thing.
That was like it's a very good example of where your entire body language is good, but other habits that it's just habits. It has nothing to do with your body language. Ruins the totality of what you're trying to portray.
Absolutely. So what I was going to say is this is actually a really good example of what open body language looks like when sitting down. Except for my leg, this is actually one of my bad habits. My bad body language habits is I always sit in weird, like kind of crooked positions. I don't know why, but it's how I feel most comfortable. For me, sitting straight.
I shouldn't say anything. I'm literally
right.
lying in the chair.
Right. Sitting straight with my legs straight and my body straight ahead doesn't feel comfortable for me. For me, I'm always just kind of vacillating back and forth between like one of my legs is up and I'm kind of crooked in like a little bit of an S shape. Terrible posture. Doesn't look great visually, but looks very calm and comfortable. Like I'm in so much control of this situation. I don't even need my legs to be ready. There's not going to be an emergency. Everything's fine. So whether it's a good or a bad habit, I don't know, is kind of up in the air. But it's definitely a bad habit for my back health, which as I approach 40 is something I should probably be more concerned with.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Also, using your hands while you're sitting a lot less than when I'm standing. You've seen that. And now, like, using two hands while I'm sitting, rarely, right? Instead, what I'm normally doing is I've got a hand on my drink, and then whenever I really want to push something home, I'll use one hand to do it. But you can have your hands in a resting position while you're sitting, and then you're showing more through your eye contact and your posture than you are through your actual hands. It just looks really awkward while you're standing to just have your hands at your side. Let's move on to the next one then.
Yes. The next one is one of my own that I came up with like on the spot here.
Okay.
This is like you talked a little bit about it in the lesson itself. Like when girls, like you're on a one-on-one and the girl is having her legs crossed, which can be a bad thing. But also one thing that I noticed in my personal experience is that when they face towards you and then they cross her leg over and lean over, like then it's like they're leaning in, like kind of cross leg position. They're like leaning forward towards you.
Mm-hmm.
My experience of that is not that the crossed legs is a bad thing, because now she's made it so hard for herself to actually start moving.
Right.
Like, she's like, I am staying right here.
Yeah. Same as my posture now.
Yeah,
right.
Like she's like cemented herself. Like I'm here. Like I'm not leaving.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with cross legs.
Yeah, because I noticed in the lesson that you mentioned that could be a bad thing, but it can also be a positive thing.
So, slight misunderstanding there. If her legs are facing away from you, that's a bad thing. If her legs are facing towards you, that's a good thing. If her legs are facing towards you and they're opened, that's an excellent thing. Now, the crossed legs is not a bad thing. The crossed legs is so kind of like what you were saying. They're cementing their place there a little bit. It's a few things there. Like, yes, she's saying, I'm not moving, I'm not going anywhere. That's a good thing. She might be doing it out of habit, because if she is a proper lady trained in traditional methods, they always sit with their legs crossed, right? But that's less and less the case. More often, if she's talking to you and then she starts to cross her legs, that's because she's like, oh, this guy might talk his way into my pants. He's really good. Maybe I need to protect myself a little bit here. Like, so it's not a bad thing. There's no situation where her legs being crossed is a bad thing. Now, it might be a neutral thing if it's just out of habit, or, if she's facing away from you and her legs are crossed, that also, it's still just as bad as it was when they weren't, right? Like, it doesn't matter. She's not interested.
Yeah, and the follow-up thing here is another thing. Like, we've talked a lot about non-verbal communication as well as body language, right?
Sure.
And I feel like there's one part of like the non-verbal communication that we didn't talk that much about, which is her belongings.
Yes.
Because if she has her purse in her lap and like her phone in her hand, that's a bad thing. If she's put them on the table and like she doesn't care where they are,
she's set up shop.
She's set up shop.
Yeah.
Right? Like if she goes to the bathroom and brings it with her, that's a bad thing. Like all of these kind of things. Like it's not it can be neutral, but also it's a sign of like I don't 100% trust you.
Yeah.
Right. So like it's all of these kind of small things that can be very hard to notice if you're not used to it.
So this is an interesting thing. This is something that I actually use as a bit of a relationship test. If you're on a date with a girl, whether you're in a relationship at this point or not, if she takes her phone with her, Bento, please stop, buddy. If she takes her phone with you, then she doesn't trust you or she's hiding something. But if she leaves it there on the table, then she has nothing to hide and she completely trusts you.
Yeah.
So definitely, if you're thinking about like, oh, should I get into a serious relationship with this girl? The phone test is not bad.
Yeah, just play the phone game.
Oh, shit. The phone game is one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Because
I
I'm
used that
not a
for
dude who
every
needs to
single
get
first date I had for 2 months because it works every time.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. For
But
those
it's
of
also
you who
about
don't
getting
know,
attention, right? Like getting them to focus on you rather than
yes.
the fucking phone.
For those of you who don't know the phone game, let's teach you this one real quick. The phone game is you both put your phone on the table face down on top of each other. Whoever is first to check their phone buys the tab.
Yeah.
Very
And
simple.
that also means if one person goes to the toilet, they're still not allowed to bring their phone.
Can't bring your
That is
phone.
losing.
You lose. Yep. And so as soon as you pick it up, as soon as you check it, you lose. Yeah, phone game is really, really useful on dates because, like you said, it helps people to stay focused.
Yeah.
Everybody's so used to checking their phone every 30 to 60 seconds that they get anxious and they get the shakes and they start turning into Gollum. My precious! If they can't check it every minute. And they're like, but it vibrated. But yeah, I know. So what? It'll be fine, right? Like, whatever it is, it can wait.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I think that's a very good answer for those. And then we have the big ouch.
Before the big out, he asked another question before that I sent you earlier this morning.
No.
Didn't I?
No, you didn't.
Damn it. Okay, well, I'll check it in a minute, but go ahead and give me the big ouch first.
Yeah. So we have a picture of a conversation here which ends with, "Hey, sorry for getting back so late. I'm sorry, but let's cancel our plans to meet?" Question mark. I've been very uncommitted, so I don't think it's fair to you. Nice knowing you anyway. So we've been texting back and forth for about 2 weeks, and things kind of died off suddenly. Can I salvage this or just drop it?
I want to hear your answer first because I've already answered him.
Yeah, I think, well, yes and no. Yes, it is probably still salvageable. The question is it worth it? The way I would salvage this is probably I would just wait a week and then say send her some Ghostbuster and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, then okay, fine. But also then she has that one chance of actually setting up the date. And if she says no or tries to reschedule, it's just bye-bye.
Yeah.
Right? That is the way I would approach it. Like it's really hard to say like, okay, she's been uncommitted. Okay, yeah, we all have busy lives. Like probably this means that she was committed in the start, but you used too long to set up the date.
Most likely, yeah. So, for context, this is a girl who I met like a month ago when I was shit-faced drunk at like 8 a.m. And I was like, oh, you live there? Listen, one of my buddies, he lives there too. He's really cool. You should meet him. Here, I'll send him your Telegram and you guys can chat. And she and I talked for about an hour or so, and then we exchanged contacts. And then I was like, oh, by the way, I'm going to send my buddy your contact. You guys can talk from there. And so they've been talking for a few weeks now and just now getting around to setting up the date. Yeah, he probably fucked up with the timing. What I said to him that he should say to this is, oh, thank God, what a relief. I've been so busy these days, and actually scheduling Saturday in was really difficult. Lol. And then after she responds, no matter what she responds, if she says something like, oh, well, it didn't seem that way, or oh, you hide it well, or oh, okay, well, good. I'm glad we're both on the same page.
Don't do anything.
It doesn't matter what she says. No. Then here's the follow up. But I am planning to go to a Halloween party in 2 weeks, and it would be cool to have a costume partner. What should we dress up as? So essentially, I'm oh, me too, like kind of baiting in the thing and then dropping the switch of rescheduling the date for 2 weeks from now for a Halloween party. Very specific. This only happens once a year. We're going to be costume buddies. What should we dress up as? Is interesting, is fun, is cool. It's not just a hangout. It's a Halloween party. Guaranteed to have fun. So that was my recommendation for him. Now, chances that this actually works, 30% roughly.
Yeah.
But also, to my mind, his best chance of making something work. Because I don't see any other way that he has a better chance.
Yeah. So now that it's like I get the full story, like not knowing, like they've never actually met.
Right.
That is a whole nother story. Yes, I still think that like the Ghostbuster tactic can work.
Yeah.
Where you just you don't even respond to it. You just wait a week and then oh shit, I haven't read your message, right?
But it's already read, right?
Yeah, but like you can pretend like you read it, but then something happened and then whatever.
Oh shit, I thought I answered you. Wait, we were supposed to meet?
Yeah, right. Like you can do that after a week, right? Or like just even better, like, oh shit, I thought it was this weekend.
Yeah,
right? Like just completely flip the script with like one of the Ghostbuster tactics and just.
Now there are a lot of different ways to do this, but it's important to know every single one of these is absolutely a Hail Mary, right? Like
yeah, for sure. Like your best bet is you probably have a 30% chance of
exactly. At best, you have a 30% chance of making this thing work. There's no like guaranteed this is what you do, this is what you say, it works 100% of the time every time. Like that doesn't exist. But with about a 60% chance, or about a 30% chance, better than where you are now.
Yeah, and then the question is it worth it?
Is it worth it? Well, she was pretty cute. Not like an absolute stunner. I would say it's worth 2 more messages. Like the 2 that I would send.
Yeah.
You send the thank God, like I'm so relieved, I was having trouble scheduling. She answers something. And if she doesn't answer at all, it's gone. It's over. It's finished. But if she answers anything at all, then you throw in the Halloween party. 2 messages, it's worth that much more investment. And then
for Christ's sake, you've been chatting for 2 weeks, like
dude, he followed up whenever I told him we were going to add it into the conversation tonight. He followed up with like, oh, actually, it's been about 3 weeks.
Yeah, okay. Even worse.
Yeah, that's not making your case better here. Right? Okay, hold on a second, because I had sent one before. Did I put it into the Discord maybe?
You can check.
Yeah, here. In the Discord. Submitted via Kakao. How do you catch yourself? Okay, here, I'll let you read it so I can go back to being on both cameras.
How do you catch yourself from going back to bad body language? You can't see yourself on a date, and why would you tend to go back to bad habits like slouching, etc., as the date progresses? It definitely has to do with comfort.
Yeah.
Like same as like I shake my legs, I like have my listening face like this. It is because it's comfort, it's habit, it's so well grained into who I am as a person that I still do this subconsciously. Yeah, right. Like, and same for Jack, right? Like you're sitting there with your legs crossed, like you're kind of slouching to the side.
Yeah.
You have to find ways that even though you have a bad body language in, like even when this habit comes back, it doesn't break your frame. I think that is what you should practice, rather trying to stop these from coming back every now and then, because that's not going to happen.
Yeah. There are some parts of your body language that you need to retrain. Like if your habit is that you tend to sit like this, you have to break that habit.
Yeah.
Because that's a crucially bad habit. Or if you tend to put your hands in your pocket or something like that, that is a critically bad habit that you must break. If you never use your hands to talk, that is a critical habit that you must break. If you have a hard time making eye contact, that is a critical habit that you must break. But when it comes to things like your posture or your legs shaking or your
Actually, for the leg shaking, I remember I read a study, I think it was a year or two ago, that showed that people that shake their legs has on average a 23% higher metabolism than the rest of the population. And I'm like, I'm using that for everything. It's fucking worse.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I wouldn't worry too much about the small things, about your posture, your sitting position, about if you're shaking your knee, right? But it's not like shaking the table. If you're doing it and it's shaking the table, fuck you, you're just an asshole, right?
Oh, I am the person, like when I first start, I can sit in a car and the whole car will be shaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That'll happen.
Rhythmic. It's like it's such a constant frequency that everything just goes.
Yeah. And people think that like, oh, there's something wrong with my car. Nothing wrong with your car. I'm just shaking my leg. No, for certain things, you definitely need to force break the habit. And whenever you notice yourself getting back into position, and don't say that, but break out of it immediately. Pay attention to the things that are critical, that really make a difference, that make you appear closed off, or that make you appear uncomfortable. If you regularly cover your mouth when you talk, fuck you, stop that. You must break that. But for other things, for small things, like do my shoulders need to be back 100% of the time? Do I need to be sitting with perfect posture 100% of the time?
No, you look like a retard.
Like I feel uncomfortable doing this, and other people will see that I feel uncomfortable. Like don't worry too much about it.
I will still do this, but that is especially like when standing and waiting for things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, this is me being impatient. Like, come on.
Waiting in line at Corner Pub.
Yeah, or waiting in line in Doma.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And I don't know, like body language is
an art.
Body language is 80% important to master your own body language, and it's 120% important to master understanding other people's body language. Because even if I'm shaking my leg, you should know from how I'm sitting and how I'm talking that I'm perfectly comfortable and I feel natural.
Yeah, and the leg shaking is just a bad habit. It has nothing to do with your body language.
Yeah, I mean, or it's a 22% higher metabolism and it's an excellent habit. I'm just saying,
exactly.
Motherfucker. Right? Like it's if you learn how to read other people, you will do so much better. And then if you can master your body language by about 80%, then you guaranteed will be communicating with them better than you could have otherwise. So master yourself 80%, master them 120%.
Yeah.
You'll understand them more than they understand themselves, and you will be able to communicate anything that you want to them with a few allowances for human error, right?
Yeah, I think like what I would like sum it up to is like whenever, especially like in the beginning. So first impressions matter a lot, right?
Mm,
So if you can learn to master your body language for 20 to 30 minutes at a time, like that, you can make sure that for 20 minutes you can maintain the desired posture or body posture
yeah.
that you want. I think that is very important rather than trying to be perfect all the time. Like if you can do 20 minutes and then you fuck up for 5 minutes and then you do 20 minutes, perfectly fine. Like
Yeah.
because it's gonna give overall the feeling that you are comfortable, you're confident, you are here because of what you want.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, to exactly that point, as the lesson went on during the stream, my chin came down further and further as I was talking more to the camera and less focused on my posture,
Mm.
right? But also, nobody really noticed because that was a gradual 10% decline over 50 minutes,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Right?
So, like,
But it doesn't have to be perfect all the time. It
yeah,
just have to make the first impression last.
right.
And the truth is, like, what do they say? Like, the first impression is like the first 7 minutes. That's what they're gonna remember for the rest of the day. I think
Maybe.
there's some ridiculous low number like that. It's like the first 7 minutes of of a meeting with another person. That is what makes the impression of how that whole meeting went.
That strikes me as really long.
Yeah, exactly right.
I
Even long.
I would say it's probably closer to the first 70 seconds rather than 7 minutes. You know, like it's
Yeah.
about the first minute is going to make your impression. It's going to make or break. I mean, think about like, look, we're in the era of you are watching TikTok or YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels that can't be longer than 60 seconds. So you're making your first impressions within the first 5 seconds.
Yeah,
Now,
the initial impression is within 7 seconds, and the lasting first impression, 27 seconds. That is how long you need to keep it up for.
there you go. That sounds a bit closer
Yeah.
to actually what I would guess. Because
Like,
7 minutes, dude, who the
I
fuck
think
waiting
that is,
7 minutes?
I mean, like for the 7 minutes thing, it's not about like your first impression, but that is gonna be what happens in the first 7 minutes
Yeah,
is gonna dictate the lasting impression of a whole interaction with a person. So if you're on a date for 2 hours, it's the first 7 minutes that counts.
yeah, I can see that. Well, and we've been on a date for 2 hours now. And
Yeah,
how do you
exactly. And I
feel?
think
I feel pretty good about it. I don't know. How do you feel, buddy?
I think you were pretty selfish for the first 55 minutes.
Yeah, I did kind of dominate the conversation a little bit there, didn't I? Man, like,
Oh, that is another thing.
hmm,
Like that's also a verbal, non-verbal communication. The people that never stops talking.
yeah. Big difference between when I'm giving the lesson
Yeah.
and when we're having this, right? There's a very easy back and forth. You talk, I talk, call and response,
Yeah.
feel.
We have an actual conversation.
Right, right. Which this is excellent training. And I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, nobody's stuck around with us for 2 hours, you
Yeah,
know?
that's true.
But
But
so
we
what?
had fun.
They should. They should, because this is going to teach them a lot about how conversations should work. I don't know, man.
I think it's a good place to wrap it up, though.
It definitely is. We are well over the 1 hour mark that I generally aim for. Apologies to you for having rambled for so long, but It was a big topic with a ton to cover. So I don't know. How about this? Before we wrap it up, let's brainstorm. What do you think next week's topic should be? Because if we can, you know what? Actually, let's do this. From now on, this is going to be the reward for anybody who actually sticks with us to the end of our stream. We're gonna let them give their opinions as well.
Suggestions for next week's topic.
Yeah. So whoever wants to choose next week's topic, you have to be here at the end of the stream. And if you're here at the end of the stream, you can help us choose next week's topic. So, Paul, what do you think? Because I think that you're currently my only viewer right now, right?
Actually, I am not. There is someone else.
There's someone there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I'm not padding the numbers today.
Wow. Okay. Well, whoever is there right now,
you have a chance to dictate next week's topic.
Absolutely. All right. But what do you think? What do you think is something that we need to cover or something that we haven't covered?
I think one thing we need to cover, and this is a repeated thing that I've experienced. I know some people in the community experience this, and this is usually something that can be very frustrating for the people that are a little longer, a little more solid in their game. And that is, how do you act when you're at a bar, your buddies are there, but they are occupied with a girl? How do you actually, like, that whole like wingmanning, or just being a good buddy at the bar? Like, how do you make it so that you don't accidentally fuck your friends over?
Okay, cool. So like wingmanning 101.
Yeah, like both wingmanning 1-on-1 and also like how not to be a cock block for your buddies.
Right.
1-on-1.
Like,
because I think
knowing when to not wingman is just
yeah,
as important.
exactly. Right? And I think it's a topic that we've been putting off. I think we've talking about it a couple times, but like it's a topic that we've put off for about over a year. And I think it's about a good time we, like, because our group here is starting to get very big.
Yeah.
Right? Like when we go out, we can have days where just 3 people, or we can have a group party where it's like 18 dudes.
Yeah.
Like someone is definitely getting cockblocked that night, right?
Yeah.
And like teaching how to like actually deal with this and how you can be a good wingman by not wingmanning, stuff like that. Very good thing to start on, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. Then Sabi's our guy.
Yeah.
Like the topic. Okay, good. All right, Sabi, we'll do that one next week for you. So next week,
you better be here.
Next week, join us here as we teach you Wingmanning 101. We're going to teach you what to do, what not to do, how to identify whether your friend needs help or whether you should just fuck right off and leave him alone. And all of that will be covered next week on Live with Jack. But until then, I'll see you guys next time. Papa Jack out.